taste of your own medicine, doctor. What have you been doing here, Crane? What have you been doing here? Crane, who are you working for? Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul is dead. Who are you working for? Dr. Crane isn't in right now. But if you'd like to make an appointment, all right. So I attempted to give Cillian Murphy his flowers in my reaction to Oppenheimer, but I've decided to do that, but in a whole video. So we're going to give Cillian Murphy his own video while he is riding the wave of Oppenheimer. And I'm going to talk about, once again, my favorite role of his, which was as Dr. Jonathan Crane / the Scarecrow in Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins. Hey all, before I jump in, please do me a big favor from this side of the camera. Please smash that like button on the way in. And also, if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. That would help out the channel and that would help me out personally. So with that, let's get to our feature presentation. Hey all, well, I did it in a brief snippet of my Oppenheimer recap, but I'm back in this video now to give Cillian Murphy his flowers in his own video. Okay, hopefully this won't go too long. But shout out to my brother, Amal Dunbar. This video is being shot on his birthday. My brother did give me this shirt right here. This has some of the prominent DC villains. You got the Joker, Bizarro, Lex Luthor, Brainiac. You know, when James Gunn, whatever they're doing with the DC cinematic universe, the DC universe, the DCEU, the DCU, whatever it is, I was just watching Tyrone Mangus last night, and it looks like Gal Gadot is coming back to work with James Gunn, and that the Blue Beetle might be a part of the new James Gunn verse, whatever. So I don't know what's going on there, but perhaps James Gunn will bring Brainiac to the big screen, especially now in this new digital age. Well, maybe not so new, but during this fourth industrial wave with AI and machine learning and the IoT, maybe, just maybe, we'll see Brainiac here. Maybe we'll see Brainiac on the big screen. That's my ask. That's one of my asks for James Gunn, other than not screwing the whole thing up. I don't think we've ever seen Brainiac on the big screen before, but I think he would make for a compelling villain, especially in today's era. Anyway, so here's the Scarecrow. There's a Scarecrow right there. I think the Cheetah, she's on this over here. And I think Solomon Grundy, I think this is Solomon Grundy right here. Here's the Riddler right there. So shout out to my brother Amal for this t-shirt. So Cillian Murphy. So I did talk about this in my Oppenheimer recap, but I decided to create a whole video on this. And so now I'm going to jump in and to talk about my favorite role that Cillian Murphy has ever played, which was as Dr. Jonathan Crane / the Scarecrow in Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins. So Batman Begins was released in 2005. I was just finishing up grad school, And I mentioned my brother in the first part of this video. I remember at a gathering, I remember my brother was so charged up about Batman Begins that he felt that it was better than the drama Crash, which was a very, very riveting drama. But Batman Begins was a great movie, and it was a reboot of the character and the franchise. There are a lot of videos here on YouTube about how Christopher Nolan created that movie, how he got selected to work on that movie, and it was a good reboot of the character and the franchise, especially after Batman and Robin, directed by Joel Schumacher. I thought Batman Forever was decent. I liked Val Kilmer, but Batman Begins returned that whole world to what it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be dark, and it's supposed to be dangerous, and it's supposed to be a little bit macabre. And Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale, that entire cast and crew returned Batman to what Batman was supposed to be. One of my favorite characters in the movie, and actually I'm a fan of all the characters and the actors and actresses in the movie and what they did in that movie. But since Oppenheimer just came out, I'm going to focus on Cillian Murphy. So Cillian Murphy played Dr. Jonathan Crane, who was a psychopharmacologist. A psychopharmacologist. I'm a pharmacologist, so I know a little bit about drugs and drugs that work on the nervous system. But I had known of the Scarecrow from years back. I collected Batman, the new series. It was something to that effect in the late 80s, the comic books. And there was a scene, there was an issue where Jason Todd was Robin, and Dick Grayson had become Nightwing, and Batman had sent him to surveil and to track the Scarecrow, not to do anything, but to track the Scarecrow. I think it was during the Millennium. I think it was the Millennium, which was a follow up to the Crisis of Infinite Earths. This particular story thread fed into that. But Jason Todd was supposed to just track the Scarecrow, not do anything, and the Scarecrow was there mixing his potions and contemplating how much fear he was going to inflict on the citizens of Gotham. And Jason Todd ended up attacking him and exposing Dr. Crane to his own fear gas. And I think Bruce impersonated him in order to get into Arkham Asylum. But anyway, that was my first exposure to the Scarecrow / Dr. Jonathan Crane, and the drawings of him. I forget the artist, but the drawings of him were similar to Cillian Murphy. He was a studious looking European, a studious looking man of European descent. He was white, glasses, short black hair, maybe slightly curly, but he looked like a professor. And that's what Cillian Murphy looked like in that role in Batman Begins. But it wasn't just the look, because the first time we see him in the movie is when he is taking the stand. Rachel Dawes is cross-examining him, and he is trying to convince the judge and the jury that Zaz, the knife, the blade wielding guy, the knife wielding guy, he's trying to convince them that he's insane for Carmine Falcone, because Zaz is part of Carmine Falcone's gang. But anyway, he looks studious. He's wearing a suit, carrying a briefcase, but he's icy. He's icy and frigid, especially towards Rachel Dawes afterwards in the hallways of that municipal building. So he's poised, he's icy, and as we see, he's distant, and he's cold, and he's calculating, and we see that in his interactions with Carmine Falcone before Batman abducts Carmine Falcone. He's talking to him in his office, and he says, "No more favors." Somebody snooping around, and Carmine Falcone starts pontificating and talking about how he runs Gotham and how uh, it's his town and those kinds of things. And Dr. Crane, the the way the camera would zoom in on Cillian Murphy in that role, and the way Cillian Murphy would just say nothing, and he would just stare and he would just stare at his the person he was talking to through his glasses. It conveyed a level of iciness, and it conveyed a level of, you're talking all this junk, you're talking and you're pontificating and you're going on and on and on about yourself, but you don't know who I am, and you don't know who you're messing with. You don't know who I'm working for. And he portrayed that iciness really, really well. And the same is true when Carmine Falcone was abducted by Batman and placed in that prison facility, and when Dr. Crane exposed him to the fear gas for the first time. He pulled out the mask and said, "Would you like to see my mask? It may look very simple to you, but these crazies, they can't stand it." And he puts it on, and Carmine Falcone doesn't know what's going on, and he sprays Carmine Falcone with the fear gas, and Carmine Falcone goes insane. So he was poised, he was icy, he was distant, he was calculating, but he was also twisted. He was also very, very twisted. And that's why I say they brought Gotham and that Batman character and the Batman world back to what it was supposed to be, because Batman's villains, his arch villains, the way they're supposed to be portrayed, not in the Adam West Batman or the Joel Schumacher Batmans. All of Batman's villains are supposed to be twisted. They're supposed to be deranged. They're supposed to be crazy and calculating. So they're most of them are supposed to embody all of those attributes: crazy, twisted, delusional, insane, but also in some instances very, very smart, like Dr. Crane and like the Riddler. So Cillian Murphy portrayed all of that in Batman Begins. Now, what was funny is that Cillian Murphy also portrayed the frailties of the character, because Dr. Jonathan Crane was a scientist. He was a psychopharmacologist. So he wasn't large, he wasn't imposing. And in those scenes, in that scene in Arkham Asylum, no, it wasn't Arkham Asylum. It was, yeah, I think it was Arkham, where Batman discovered that Dr. Crane was dumping the toxin, the weaponized hallucinogen. They were dumping it in the sewers, the Gotham sewers. Batman engaged with his henchmen, and he beat his henchmen down. But Batman pretty much had his way with Dr. Crane when Dr. Crane tried to give him the fear gas again. So he showed the frailties of that character. And shout out to Sheed. Sheed liked the voice, so I'll do it again. Crane, who are you working for? When he um, got sprayed with the fear gas, and he saw Batman as that demon, Cillian Murphy perfectly portrayed the fear, the fear and the effect of the fear gas on Dr. Crane. So I thought that was noteworthy as well. And then when he was still suffering from the effects of the fear gas, when the Gotham police were interrogating him, he was laid to the side. He was kind of catatonic, and he told them, you can't. It's already done. You can't undo it. It's too far gone. You can't undo it. So I thought that he played those aspects of the character masterfully as well. And all of it was collectively funny, exhilarating, funny and exhilarating as well. Watching Christian Bale in his batsuit take on the Scarecrow's goons, and then um, ripping the mask off Cillian Murphy's head, and then giving him the fear gas, giving him the taste of his own medicine. All that was very, very fun to watch as a fan and going to see the movie. It's one of my favorite scenes and sequences um, of all time. So now I'm going to end with this by saying that there was also the writers and Christopher Nolan as a director. You can have great actors and you can have a great story to tell. You can have a great concept and you can be in a great story world. But the writers have to set that up cleverly as well. And when I think about that role, we never saw on camera in that movie Dr. Crane meeting Ra's al Ghul, and we never saw them conspiring with one another for Ra's al Ghul to give Dr. Crane the blue flower. And we never saw them conspiring to dump the weaponized hallucinogen. We never saw them conspiring to dump the weaponized hallucinogen into the Gotham sewers. So we only hear about that when Batman goes to rescue Rachel and Dr. Crane, subdued by his own weaponized hallucinogen, uh, leaking out that he's working with Ra's al Ghul. We only hear that then. And then later on, when Bruce asks Ra's al Ghul, played by Liam Neeson, is Dr. Crane part of the League of Shadows? Ra's al Ghul says, of course not. But he was a useful pawn in what we were trying to do, something to that effect. So I'm saying that to say that the writing for the movie around Christian Bale and around Cillian Murphy and Liam Neeson, it was brilliant, because often what you don't see is as effective as what you do. And the fact that they didn't show us that, and that it leaked out. Well, it also showed that Batman was supposed to be a detective. He's not just a vigilante, but he's also a detective solving crimes and putting clues together and piecing puzzles together. So I thought that I'm saying this to say that I thought that was a brilliant part of Cillian Murphy's performance, and Christian Bale's, and Liam Neeson's, and the entire thing. So in terms of heritage, Cillian Murphy is Irish, and he's been in a ton of other movies besides Batman Begins. So I'm going to sprint through these pretty quickly. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, he did audition for the role of Batman / Bruce Wayne, but he didn't get that. Christian Bale got it, but he was cast where he was supposed to be. Let's see. So Quando. So this is starting in 1997 and it's going down. Quando, The Tale of Sweetie Barrett, Eviction, Sunburn, At Death's Door, The Trench, Feline and Fail, A Man of Few Words, On the Edge, How Harry Became a Tree, Disco Pigs, Watchmen. So he was in The Watchmen. No, that I don't think that was the DC Watchmen, because it says a short film, and The Watchmen wasn't a short film. 28 Days Later, Intermission, Girl with a Pearl Earring, Cold Mountain, Zonad, Batman Begins, Red Eye, Breakfast on Pluto, The Silent City, The Wind That Shakes the Barley, Sunshine, Watching the Detectives, The Dark Knight. So he was briefly in The Dark Knight. The Edge of Love, Wave Riders, Perrier's Bounty, The Water, Peacock, Hippie Hippie Shake, Inception. There's another Christopher Nolan movie in addition to the Dark Knight trilogy. Tron Legacy. He was in Tron Legacy. Edward Dillinger. I think that might have been the villain for Tron Legacy. Oh no, Edward Dillinger Jr. Edward Dillinger was the original villain in the original Tron. Okay, so he played his son in the movie. Retreat, In Time, Red Lights, Broken, The Dark Knight Rises, Harriet and the Matches, Aloft, Transcendence, From the Mountain, In the Heat, In the Heart of the Sea, Anthropoid, Free Fire, the Party, Dunkirk. There's another Christopher Nolan movie, and I think Transcendence may have been one as well. The Delinquent Season, The Overcoat, Anna, A Quiet Place Part 2, All of This Unreal Time, Kanuski's Kingdom, Oppenheimer, and his next movie is going to be Small Things Like These. Let me take a quick look to see if Transcendence, I don't think, I'm not sure that was, no, that's not a Christopher Nolan movie. That was that Johnny Depp movie where he goes into the computer, or he loses, and I didn't see Transcendence, but he basically becomes, I think, he becomes artificial intelligence. Okay, but those are all of Cillian Murphy's movies, and I am going to wrap this up. All right, everyone, I'm going to wrap this up. So that is of the movies that I've seen him be in, and he's got a ton of them there. So I need to go and watch all of those. But right now, my favorite role that Cillian Murphy has ever played was, or is, I think it's was. I'm a writer, so I should know my tenses. I'm a huge fan of him playing Jonathan Crane and the Scarecrow in Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. And I wish that we had seen more of him in the role. He was in for bits and pieces in The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, but I would love to have seen him play that role some more. All right, everyone, this is Big Discussions 76, Entertainment and Media. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you are subscribed, please like and share. If you want to donate something to the channel, that information is below in the description box. And also, please consider joining the Big Words LLC Newsletter. In addition to being a YouTube content creator, I'm also a writer with 2 blogs and a book project on the way, which I will be discussing sometime soon in depth on this channel. So with that, everyone, as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.